Welcome to the Paradise Paradox. My name's Kurt Robinson, sending you another direct message straight from universal consciousness down to the continent, from the general to the specific. It's time for you to get with it and open up your eyes and witness exactly what's occurring before you. I implore you, please do not ignore, dude. This is the raw truth. Today, Aaron's going to explain to us a little story, a little adventure that he had going to Thailand, just for some employee training, which ended up being a mystical experience, getting a whole new perspective on the man in the mirror. If you enjoy this, please head on over to donate.theparadiseparadox.com. If you find it funny, get a new perspective, see things in a different light, get a new idea, have a giggle, have a laugh, enjoy it in any way, then please give generously. Suggested donation $1 per episode that you like. Donate.theparadiseparadox.com. Love you very much. Send my regards to your mother. Let's get into it. Welcome back, Mr. Battle. You've been on a mystical journey, exploring the depths of the oceans, digging deep in the Mariana Trench, finding out what lies in the center of the earth and the center of your soul. Is that accurate? Or,
yeah.
Okay.
It's extremely accurate, and it's a Kentucky tour I do not recommend.
Does that
Don't
mean you
do
went
it,
with
guys.
a group?
Well, it felt like it. I was definitely multiple personalities. No, that's kind of a joke. I'm still here, but I'm changed. Like, it's I think it's normal. There's a lot of things going on at the moment. A lot of perspectives, and if anyone that doesn't have their head up their ass is confronted by crap, so time to make some decisions. And I had to make a few good ones. And it has shifted my frequency, so shit happens.
Okay. So you went to Thailand.
Yep.
And what can you tell us? Yeah.
Thailand's amazing. I mean, if you're on my face, you see a few photos there. I didn't post too much because I was too busy. I don't like to take photos when I travel anymore. I feel like you want to. It's like it pulls me out of the moment. It's like, I'm here traveling. If you want to check out Thailand, just go.
Can you tell us why you went to Thailand?
Yeah, of course. It was work training. I started a new job. The head office is in Thailand, so we went over with a crew, and to meet the other guys that they work with, so we can just do a bit of team bonding.
Yeah. Okay. That's all there is to it.
No, well, it's quite a big slippery slide of craziness because I'm working for a tech company.
Yeah.
And we're building the most sophisticated communications platform ever, which is it's going to change the complete internet to a state where you'd think it's crazy, and I don't want to give too much away because we will talk about it later. But
okay.
It's very cool. I'll be dropping hints on Twitter, so if you're not jacked up with me at BattleAZ, it's a new year.
Well, that's I told the other day. I tried to relay what you told me about this system to my friend Katie, and she was like, I told her, he's trying to, they're trying to make a new communications network or something. And she's like, so they're building the internet?
That's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah. Okay.
We're building the internet for the first time.
All right. Okay. So you're on a time traveling Thai mission to send the internet back in time. So ARPA can make it in the 70s and we can enjoy its benefits today. Is that the story?
Actually, you know what? I didn't want to go too much into this, but just to clarify, because it's very interesting. Like it's ridiculous if you're into this space. It's like what the internet should have been if DARPA was actually a private company, and that actually needed to produce a product that was worth using, that was easy to use, and that actually made its own money on its own accord rather than just taking tax dollars. So if you bolt all that together and you look at a company that's building value for people and actually taking care of internet problems, because there's a lot of internet problems. We just use it and take it for granted, like the internet is, it's a good system. It's a piece of shit. Like, really, security's rubbish. There's no privacy, and we're getting raped for our information across all the social medias. So, once you look at what the internet really is, and the fact that most people don't even know what the internet is, they use Facebook and Google Mail. That's not the internet. That's two companies that have probably been hijacked. So, once you step away from that, there's really not many companies on the internet that are actually producing value to do good rather than to, rob you from your potential to make money on the internet through your own information. I don't know. It's a big slippery slide. So
a slippery slide.
It's the best kind. Yeah, no, it's
slippery slip slide. Okay.
Yeah, the one where you think you know what you're sliding down until. Actually, you know what it's like? It's kind of like the ones, that park
like an ice cream sandwich on a hot day.
They're lovely, Maxi Bond style. The slides, you step into like a cylinder, like a tube, and they shut the door, and the platform underneath you pops out. That's what we're working on. So, when this thing goes live,
is that a ride or a torture device?
No, it was at Dreamworld. I don't know whether that place is opened yet since the accident. Okay. It's intense. It's like a 40-meter drop straight down, and I'm sure they're around. I mean, it's a simple design. It's like imagine like a portaloo.
Yeah.
Open the door. You stand in there. They shut the door, and the floor just falls out, and you just like free fall a bit, and then the slide catches you. It's a big slide. Yeah, that's what Thailand was for me. A big bloody slide. And now that I'm back, everyone's like, Aaron, you're a little bit different. Yeah. What happened over there? Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about it?
I will for the sake of people that have noticed that things are different, and for yourself because it's very interesting.
Okay. So you'll clarify it a little bit for us.
As much as I can.
Okay. So what has changed?
The main thing that, I mean, this is like almost like a metaphysical level of my personality, because it's physically not part of me, and it's not even really the way that I used to think. It's like I got a whole new ability to function while I was away, and it came from a good place. It comes from appreciation and compassion. Like what's happened is I went to Thailand, and Thailand, like, you know how we've been raving for years that Mexico's magical?
Yes.
Thailand's a completely new flavor of magic. It's not Mexico, it's just different. Like Mexico's got amazing food and amazing people, and like the experiences you can have in Mexico are just uniquely amazing. Thailand's exactly the same. It's just different. So, like if you want to go to a destination and expand your world on more levels than just taking photos and enjoying a mojito, then you need to emotionally immerse yourself with the people. And that's like, explorer travel. So Thailand surprised me because I didn't expect the people to be so compassionate towards me and offer me, like, how you always, when you look at somebody, you're really looking at yourself. Somehow the Thai people are able to look at you and pull out a different level of what you are, and you go, holy shit, I actually appreciate that they appreciate me. And just the way they greet each other in the morning, like the people at I didn't rough it. Like we went to a 5-star hotel, and it was amazing. But just having the guy that presses the button for you for the elevator to look at you and greet you in a way that I did look it up. It was something like the light in me honors the light in you.
Namaste.
No, there's another word for it. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
I feel like
that's pretty much what it is. Yeah. Or
Well,
the
anyone that
divine in me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
similar idea.
And I get that because when I was at yoga, that's what the cool people would say to each other. but when you're in a country like this, you feel it. You really feel it. Like these people look you in the eye and they ask you, "Can I help you?" And they literally mean it. It's not like I'm paid $8 an hour to say this shit. No, I want to help you because by me helping you, I'm helping myself in the bigger scheme.
Wow.
And it's amazing. It's like, and it hits you emotionally if you're open to it. Like, I'm a pretty emotionally open, chakras charged up kind of guy. And it moved me. As soon as I arrived, I was like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. There's something going on here. And maybe I'm too open.
Yeah.
There's too much energy.
You mean like in the sense that like if you're too open to this kind of energy, maybe you'd be too trusting or too what could happen?
No. It's completely subconscious. It's just this feeling of it's like, imagine, I would describe it like seeing really close family that you haven't seen for years. But that's the emotion that you project to somebody just saying hello. That's what I was feeling. I was like,
but what's
these
the
people are
danger
lovely.
there?
Yeah, there is a danger because it's confronting in a way that I'm not even sure that I can put into words. And you might need to help me here.
Okay.
Because what happens is you feel energized, and that means you're not sleeping as much. Like you could probably go a whole week on 2 to 4 hours sleep, and you're just so excited you just can't sleep. You get home and you're tired, but you wake up at something like 5 o'clock in the morning, like let's have another day. And I haven't had that. I've never had that on a whole week basis where you are, not sleeping enough. So, and it's not because I didn't want to. It's just because I was just excited to be there.
So what did you do with your nights then? Like if you only got to sleep around 5 a.m. or whatever, what were you doing?
Oh, it wasn't that crazy. Okay. No, I mean, like for me, going to bed at midnight's kind of normal. But I'm out with a new crew. I'm doing a work thing, so I would have a few drinks at the corporate lounge or by the bar until 2 a.m. and then go to bed and wake up at 5 a.m. saying, now what? Now I go to the gym. And then, that's fair enough when you do it once or twice. But when you do it all week, it's like, there's something not right here. Like I'm going to die. Like I shouldn't be able to do this. Yet you wake up and you're completely fresh. All right, put the shorts on, joggers, let's go to the gym. And you back it up. It's like, so, that's the effect that it had on me. I was just energized.
Yeah, well, if something like that happens, I mean, I would have to wonder, maybe you are pushing your body a little too far. And if you told that to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, they might say, "Oh, sounds like Aaron is manic." Do you think that? I mean, you were accessing a different part of your brain, which maybe, obviously it's not normal, but was it bad?
No, not bad, but I thought the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, is this what happened? Because, I mean, people that have followed the Paradise Paradox know that we talk about a whole array of things that associate with consciousness and, mind-altering perspectives and everything from, hallucinogenics to mental illness and trying to gap that relationship. And I thought, holy crap, I'm slipping. Something's going on here, and I think it's fine because I feel great. And potentially I was. Potentially there was something let's just call it an instability of mental chemicals of being overstimulated. Okay. I'm not a doctor, by the way. I'm just putting words together.
But that does make it sound like maybe you were pushing yourself, like you could have gone over the edge.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happens. And when you know people that have experienced that, you're aware that it's possible. Because when you don't know anybody that goes through that, then there's no one telling you there's warning signs, or there's no one, there's not even a compass to say, okay, this is not normal. Maybe you should wind it in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, and the way that I would gauge that would be, am I waking up in the morning with sore eyes or a slight headache, or have I got a sore throat? Like, am I depleted my machine's energy? And if I am, then it is, call it an early night. You don't need to go out every single night just because it's spring break. You can call it, you can stay one night in. But I wasn't feeling any of that. I was just feeling great. And what makes it a bit heavier is that while we were working, it was like heavy boardroom discussion, decision making, training. Like, this is like, this is more than just hanging out with a new crew. Like, you're assisting in the facilitation of how you're going to launch a whole new company. So, it's quite heavy on the brain, and making sure you're drinking plenty of water. We're eating a lot of Thai food because, Thai food's high in salt. And when you're in a very high humidity, you are sweating a lot. So you got to keep your salt levels up. I was conscious of all this. So, I'm not being silly. But we would be working 10 hours a day, almost straight. Because even when you're not working, you're talking about work.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, it's like you were a kind of workaholic machine for a month.
It's naturally what happens when you're really passionate and excited about what you're working on.
Yeah.
It's somewhat like, I feel like it's like what Andreas Antonopoulos talks about when he cracked what's Bitcoin,
right?
And all of a sudden it was like, you forget to eat, and he tells you exactly how it is because we've all done it.
Yeah.
Some of any of the pioneers, or any even people now. I bet there's someone now would come across I've been hearing about Bitcoin and things, and it all sounds great, but I'm not really interested. And all of a sudden it jumps up $300 in a week, and I don't think it hasn't done that for a while. It has been
until
a good
yesterday.
Until these last few months, and it's been crazy again, because all of a sudden I haven't checked Google search results, but I'm assuming Bitcoin's gone up. People are trying to work out what that thing is, and I didn't care whether it's midweek and you work and you start work at 8:30 in the morning. If it's 2:00 in the morning, you're going to read at least a couple more articles. Like, you're going to keep going to say, I don't want to miss out. I don't want to miss out on the opportunity. And if you read 10 articles straight on Bitcoin and you don't know what Bitcoin is, you can start to see a currency that's going to go to 10 grand. And when you look at the position and go, well, it's $1,000 now and it's going to go to 10,000, all of a sudden you're looking at not what is it, how can I get it, what exchanges can I trade my fiat currency for it, and you lose yourself. So I experienced that again in Thailand, just on my first week of work, which is amazing, because I've never started with a company that's given me that much energy. It's always been a traditional boring company.
Okay.
By the way, this company is in the crypto space, so it's going to be very interesting. A lot of cool things coming.
I'm trying to think, maybe there's some important lessons that somebody could gain from an experience like that, because you did say, if at certain times, if you hadn't known that someone could go off the edge on an experience like this, going a little nuts or something, maybe you wouldn't have known what to do or how to handle yourself. Is that something that people should be aware of if they do get into something that they're so passionate about and they notice they don't need to sleep anymore or something like that?
Yeah, that's a very very sensible point, because now is a very interesting, crazy time, and these words don't have meaning anymore because I use them too much. But now there's so much happening within the realms of technology and just change. Let's say change in general, because technology is pushing a lot of it. But just in the perspectives people have and what people are willing to accept in their lives has started to change. And I guess this is part of the overall waking up of the human race, which you can't deny. There's something going on there. But people get excited about things when they find out for the first time, maybe the public education system isn't actually teaching you how to think, but rather just showing you what to remember, things like that.
Only to forget it later. Yeah.
Yeah, just get 10 out of 10. Your parents are happy and move on, but you don't know how to actually constructively think or generate creativity. That's a different thing. But so yeah, I think a lot of people can get excited about new stuff now more than ever because we're in those times. And even though I thought, no amateur here, I've been around the block. I know what's available and I know what's a slippery mind. So I'm drinking plenty of water. I'm trying to keep my salt levels up. I'm eating. There was another guy in the crew. He showed me where to get protein bars. So my diet's good. I'm back in the gym, so I'm feeling great. But I think even for somebody that's aware of all this stuff, what caught me by surprise was, there was a few times where I thought this could potentially be an episode, let's say, where there's something happening that shouldn't be happening or isn't normal, and that I pretty have experienced in my use of drugs.
Right. So
mind altering substances.
So you're saying you were getting to a similar state as if you had taken drugs, but you hadn't.
Exactly. Yeah, and I've done this before through meditation, and you do feel very euphoric after a solid hour and a half of yoga. So it was kind of like this is normal. I'm just really engrossed in what I'm doing, but there's more to it because that edge. At what point do you slip? If you're walking really close to a cliff, how do you know how stable the ground is underneath you? And that's something that you can't measure because it comes on very quickly. So I will go into something that happened in the second week. It was only 2 weeks of training, but in the second week, unexpectedly, it was mid-morning, and I've gone to the bathroom, and I'm still very, very hyped up. By this second week, I have slowed down. I'm not partying every night. Not that was the case, but to have perspective. So I'm pretty back to normal sleeping hours. And I wouldn't have thought anything of it, except there's sometimes these things happen and you do have the WTF, what is happening to me right now. That's very interesting. As a psychonaut, I do like to explore that stuff. But, with friends, not at work, in good company, possibly out in the middle of the desert, and with recording devices, and with people that know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? In an environment where you feel like if I slip over, someone's going to help me up. Not when I'm overseas with people I can say I barely know, but I've spent a week with them, and you do develop trust quickly when you're intense with people, every day, long hours. So you do build friendships quickly. But what happened was I was just been to the bathroom and I'm washing my hands, and I look into the mirror, and of course you see yourself, except I didn't associate what I was at that moment with what I was looking at. So it was exactly what you would see if you look at yourself in the mirror, except there was an emotional detachment from the animal, I would say, in the mirror, because it almost felt like I was at a zoo looking through a pane of glass, and I can see this human, flesh animal, because it's just a thing on that side of the window, and it was really weird because when I moved, it moved. It was like, what's this intelligent animal doing on the other side of this pane of glass? It's copying everything I do. So I looked away and I looked back, and it was only a moment. It was only a moment that I completely slipped out, and I didn't associate myself with that thing, that me on the other side of the glass. But what was interesting was when that happened, I felt this overwhelming emotion of gratitude, and I almost wanted to reach through and pat myself to say thank you for housing me. Like, can you imagine this? There was nothing weird. It was just I was thanking the human being in which I live. I looked at myself in the, like, there was a twinkle in my own eye, and it was like my body talked back to me and said, "No worries, bro. I got you back. You're all right. You look after me. I'll look after you. Just don't rev me up too much."
That's
great. Yeah, it's like, you're 31 years old now. You're not a spring chicken. Don't do anything dumb. You'll be right. We've got another 100 years ahead of us. So just keep the water levels up.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe a whole lot more. But that was a really profound moment. And at the time, it was just like, whoa, that was interesting. But as soon as I left the bathroom and I sat down with the rest of the guys at the boardroom table, I realized that I had depleted all my energy. So I've gone from being normal to being, 5 a.m. after a bender, like completely lethargic. My brain just wasn't like, I was probably almost, I was self-conscious that I wasn't drooling or something, but I was completely, like, my body, my functions, everything was really heavy, and I was just out of energy instantly. Like, whatever I did cost me all my energy. And at that point, like, I just sat there in the training, everything was fine. It was only probably a couple hours to go before the afternoon wrapped up. And I thought, like, oh, don't worry, I'll get my second wind, or I'll go grab a coffee or whatever. I'll just eat and I'll be fine. But everyone else in the crew noticed I was extremely weird, like really weird. And I just, they'd ask me a question and I would delay in saying an answer, and the answer that I'd give them was just real basic. It's like I couldn't make decisions. Like that's what it was. My brain was just out. I couldn't make decisions anymore. It was like, I'm starving. I'm out of energy. Aaron, you want to go out for dinner? Like, it's dinner time. That's what you do. And my answer would be, yeah, I should eat. Like, makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I was very spacey.
Okay.
And I was trying to pull myself back together. Like, I knew that I was acting weird, and I told my crew, I said, I don't know what happened, but I'm acting weird, and I'm sorry for that. So just deal with me for the moment. Like, what can you, like, the truth will set you free, right? Just be honest.
Yeah.
So I said, I didn't realize that little moment in the bathroom completely depleted me. So I wasn't aware until the next day. I realized there was a big jump in energy. Like, I could, in hindsight, I could see that I went from being normal to being brain dead.
Right. You didn't, like, pass 3 hours in the bathroom staring in the mirror, did you?
No. Well, at least they didn't notice if that happened.
Well,
no,
let me offer some analysis here, and you can tell me if you think this is accurate or this is something people should take on board, because it does kind of sound like you were feeling really, really full of energy and everything, and that was great. And maybe because of that, you skipped a lot of sleep, and then when the energy depleted, it was like it was catching up with you. Do you think that's accurate?
It could definitely seem that way, but at least 2 nights before, it was full night sleep. Like, unless there's a complete delayed reaction, like, it wasn't like I did this and then that happened. No, okay. I was back to normal with sleep patterns and everything. This was like middle of the second week.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe someone who knows more about sleep debt. I mean, that's a bit of a controversial
perhaps
subject, because people say sleep debt is a real thing and other people say it isn't, and I don't know what's right. Yeah. But... Well, I was going to say, maybe this applies, maybe not, but in this situation, because I do think maybe more people are going to start to have not exactly like your experience, but maybe something like it.
I agree.
Yeah. So the thing is, you might feel great. You might feel like you're over the moon and you're full of energy. But rule number one is mind the organism. So you still do need sleep, and you still do need to eat. Well, at least for now, it doesn't hurt you to eat in any case. So you may as well do it.
Very true.
And yeah, mind the organism. Take care of yourself, because if you start to get into one of these interesting mental states, then it's easy to go a little too far, and maybe you won't realize that you're putting yourself in danger until it's too late. So, like you had that special moment there, thanking your body. It goes two ways. You need to look out for your body. So these mind the organism. That's the lesson there. So be careful.
Even though you told me that, it doesn't really make sense until now. Like right now, this very moment,
right?
Like, it completely makes sense, because even when you think you are, you might not be.
Yeah. So if you get like these huge bursts of energy and shit is going on, and you're like, oh, I feel best I've ever been. It's best to probably just err a little bit on the side of caution. Or like someone said to you, don't fly too high. That's another way of putting it. Don't be Icarus. Just pull back. It's all right to let off the accelerator a little. You don't have to pump the gas all the way.
Just be cool.
Yeah,
be cool. I know we've been saying this for years, but it's so easy. Just be cool.
Yeah.
No one's trying to win anything.
That's right. It's not a competition. Yeah. So by the way, on a tangent, I guess, a relevant thing, I had a little odd experience the other day. I woke up and I was in sleep paralysis, and I guess let's see. I was very relaxed. It wasn't no old hag on my bed or anything like that. And I guess I've had sleep paralysis enough times now that I don't freak out and think, oh, what the and try to quit it as quick as possible. Yeah. So it was just like I was in this very deep meditation. So by coincidence, just the other day, my buddy Leandrew was telling me about how his significant other Kelsey gets paralysis sometimes, and he's kind of jealous because he never gets it. And he says, well, that would be cool if I could do it, and then try to have an out of body experience. So lying there on my bed, I'm like, I wonder what I could do. But I didn't get all the way. But what happened was, I was like, maybe trying to be aware of my hands, and I felt like my hands were kind of like floating around, and I was like, hang on, this is like, I have 4 hands. Like these are my spirit hands that I'm feeling. My physical hands are still on the bed, and I felt someone like tugging on my ring finger, like trying to like pull me out of my bed, kind of thing. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to actually get all the way out. Part of it seemed like I was too focused on my breath, because I was still, like I said, it was kind of like I was meditating. So I was doing like deep breaths or breathing exercises, and that kind of inhibited me. So I thought later on reflection, I was like, well, that's kind of a cunt, isn't it? Because like one thing, you get really deep in meditation by focusing on your breath, but then by the time you want to leave your body, you're focused too much on your breath. You're too aware of your body, and so you can't get out. So it's like it's this weird, I don't know, game of hurdles where you got to jump over one and duck under another or something. So,
yeah, I guess all this kind of stuff. I mean, on one note, I can see 2017 is going to be another year of crazy podcasts. So this is what we start with. Holy moly! But it's probably some people wondering, like, why do people want to do this? Like, why would you want to have a paralysis moment, which is frightening for most people, but why would you want that, to induce that, and then to see what you can do?
Well, that's the great question, isn't it? Because who knows what's really out there? I mean, if we really can have out of body experiences, I've had a couple. I think I've probably talked about them. Have you had any?
Well, just yesterday morning, I did something it was similar to, just normal waking up. When we wake up and you're in that middle in-between zone of I'm awake, but I'm still asleep.
Yep.
You can kind of slightly hear what's happening in the room or around you, but you're still asleep. And I've actually been having a few issues in my back again, just recently. And I went to stretch my arm up. I just over my head, just rolled my shoulder back.
Yeah.
And when I did that, like there was a pain in my shoulder. Like I've got a pain in my shoulder, except at the same time that I was like, ow, that hurt, I realized I didn't even move my arm. Like I was just doing it in my head. Like I was like, I don't know, can you call it a spirit arm? I mean, I'm not really familiar with these terms, but in my head, I was half asleep and I was like, my shoulder hurts, I better move it. And then it really hurt. And then I realized I never moved my arm at all.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. Is that just telling me that the pain in my body is just completely all in my head and then I should just forget about it?
Well, that's an interesting rabbit hole to dive down. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's the most recent thing of its type that I've had. But yeah, I mean I've had out of body experiences where you think you're someone else. It's just like
think you're someone else.
Sometimes I get confused. Well, someone else, somewhere else. Okay. Yeah, I've had a full range of crazy, like, where you wake up and look yourself in the mirror and go, that's not me.
Right. Well, you just described that for us. But
yeah.
Exactly. In the book, I think it's called Journeys Out of the Body by Monroe.
Yeah. None of this shit's new to me.
I was thinking about this book the other day. I haven't read it in years. Journeys Out of the Body, and in a couple of the scenarios, he describes these 3 or 4 different locales, completely different environments with completely different inhabitants, and in one of them, Monroe serially he habitually fucks up this alternate reality version of himself, or at least that's what it seems like, because every time he somehow enters this other reality and then he accidentally enters into this alternate reality version of himself, his body, and then he's like, like you mentioned before we started recording, the shower scene, which is what you call it when you you suddenly forget where you are. It's like a little absent seizure or something. Especially happens to marijuana smokers.
Really? That could explain a few things. But it's like the shower cubicle becomes the whole world and everything's like high definition inside there. And it's like, wow, I can see the drops coming out of the taps. I can see like the different shades of shiny on the tiles, and it's just me in here. Like, what's going on?
Yeah,
this whole world just for me.
Yeah, it's like you wake up and you just realize, oh, this is and you try to play along, like improvise, like you've got this soap in your hand and you're like, what the hell is this thing for? And you're like, I don't know, but I'm scrubbing myself because that's what my muscle memory does.
That's what human beings do.
So you
feel like an alien.
Yes.
Just hijacked the human body, and you're like, what am I supposed to do now?
Yes.
I forgot.
Exactly. So it's like you've just woken up to this whole new situation, and you have to deal with it as best you can. So that's what would happen to, according to his stories, that's what would happen to Monroe. Except he actually was waking up in an alien body in an alien world with no idea or context of what was going on, and this alternate version of Monroe was a kind of scientist. And there's one scene where he describes. So let's see. There was one scene earlier where the alternate reality version of Monroe is talking to his girlfriend, and his girlfriend is angry because there's this weird thing that always happens to this version of Monroe. That causes him so many problems in his life, which is, I mean, if you fill in the blanks, the weird thing that's happening is that Monroe enters his body and fucks shit up. So then later the scene is they're in the laboratory and they're like trying to get funding for a big project, and Monroe's girlfriend walks in because she's like the administrator or something, and she walks in with a potential investor, and just at that moment is when Monroe enters the body of his double, and they're like, oh, and here is Monroe, and he's going to show us around the laboratory, and he's like, just immediately jumped into that alien body, not knowing what to do.
Yeah, you see, you said these kind of episodes are going to happen to more and more people.
Well, that's a hunch, but who really knows?
Well, I know from my experience, any of these episodes that are now happening are a lot more intense. I mean, to the point that I've really pulled back on everything that could be altering my state of consciousness, and I mean, I just think it's best to be cool. I don't need to be messing myself up.
Sounds reasonable, yeah.
And I mean, and that's to the point that I don't mind doing a meditation in the morning, even 5 minutes to just check in on what are you doing today. And it seems really basic, but that just changes your whole day.
Yeah, sounds good.
Just be careful, guys. Look after yourself. You know how it is.
Mind the organism.
Everything's possible.
Mind the organism. Rule number 1. Mind the organism. Cool. Yeah, I guess that's all we've got to say today, unless you have some final notes.
No, that was the story. There's a lot more about Thailand, and I guess it honestly caught me by surprise, because I thought I'm well traveled. I've seen it all. I didn't expect to be just hit with these rays of compassion and have my whole perspective shifted on the world, because that ties into something else that I think we'll go into in a further episode about finding a much higher level of clarity. Because I was able to work, I was opened up emotionally to work from a different place in myself, where all of a sudden I was empowered to make decisions on things that normally I would dismiss.
Okay, I'm not sure what you're getting at, but I guess we'll have to explore that another time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to leave it so it's like, oh, that sounded really cool. I wish I knew more about that. But essentially, it is if you feel really good, all of a sudden you want to help other people feel good too. And then you realize a lot of people feeling really bad, and you realize you got a lot of work on your plate. That's kind of what I went through. It's like there's a lot of work. A lot of work out there in this big world, if you're willing to fix it.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, thanks for sharing the story with us, Aaron. And
that's cool.
Welcome back to you, to the Paradise Paradox, after your leave of absence.
Oh yeah, no, it was a nice break. Take a holiday.
Yeah,
that's good.
Great.